You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Venus Day, happy Friday, and happy July. It is officially July, and some very, very famous Cancers are celebrating their birthdays today. In fact, quite possibly the most beloved Cancer of all time, Princess Diana, would have celebrated her solar return on July 1st. Pamela Anderson is a Cancer, Liv Tyler, Dan Aykroyd, Debbie Harry. See anyone else popping up? Missy Elliott, Olivia de Havilland, who, by the way, I was kind of named after in a weird way. Lots of famous Cancer, specifically a lot of famous Cancer women celebrating their solar returns today. Oh, glad you love the intro. So in this video, we'll walk through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the energy of each day of this weekend. If you happen to find this video after we stream it live, I'm going to go and add chapter markers on the timeline so you can jump to whichever day you are looking for guidance for. And then we will end our show with a 3-card tarot pull for any additional guidance that wants to come through, that needs to be heard for this weekend. So as you're settling in here, let me know how the energy is feeling. We have some kind of intense transits to talk about this weekend. I do not predict sports, but I know that there's someone in our house that's very excited about what's going on in the basketball world. That's a different stream for a different time. So we're starting our weekend, of course, with the sun in Cancer. The moon is in Leo. And my mic is in a funky position here. All right. So, the sun in Cancer, we're in the midst of Cancer season, midst of home improvement season. Right now, the energy is all about home and family. And I'm sure a lot of people will be spending this holiday weekend, at least here in the United States, family barbecues, hanging out with their close family, really feeling that Cancer season energy. And the moon is in Leo today and tomorrow. It moves into Virgo on Sunday. But the Leo moon is really taking a lot of the emotions that came up during the new moon and putting our heart behind them, really aligning us with our passions. Leo moon is just really like fun, childlike energy too. So this weekend will probably be pretty fun for a lot of people. However, it's the major transits that are happening at the same time that could shake things up a little bit. Just says, I've been so calm this week, even bored as a Cancer sun. Well, the transits happening this weekend likely won't be boring. It's kind of nice when we come out of this new moon calm period, right? The moon and sun were both in Cancer for most of the week. Take that calmness and get ready to turn it into something this weekend and enjoy the calm while it lasts, right? Because we know that it's not always like that. Feels like a hectic day today. You are tapped into the energy, Diane. Feeling a little triggered today. Definitely feeling the energy, trying to stay grounded. Yes. Okay. Ooh, heading to the lake for the weekend. Loving that Leo moon. So tired, though. Not sleeping well the past 2 nights. I'm right there with you, Jennifer. But I think this Leo moon and being out on the lake, holiday weekend, will probably spice it up a little bit, maybe give you some fresh energy. So let's talk about what's going on today, starting with our Friday. The main transit we're talking about today is Mars squaring off to Pluto. We touched on this a little bit yesterday. because we were starting to feel this energy yesterday, but you can see Mars at 27 degrees here in Aries, Mars in its home sign of Aries, squaring off to Pluto in Capricorn. And remember, Pluto is now retrograde. That doesn't influence this aspect too much, but there is an element of review that's going to be coming up a lot through the major transits this weekend, because there's a retrograde planet connecting in every major transit. So there is kind of this nostalgic element here, or especially with Pluto retrograde, kind of reviewing transformation, going back, seeing how much we've transformed, and then maybe transforming even more. Because Mars squaring off to Pluto, you know, that triggered energy, that's kind of the perfect word to describe it. Mars is the planet of action. Anytime Mars is involved in a square, like it is today, and we'll still feel this into Saturday as well, anytime Mars is involved in a square, this is like, we need to do something now. We need to act now. It's very activating. It just wants us to do, to go, to move. And with Pluto on the other end of this square, there's like this deep motivation. We want to act from our depths. Now, this can go one of two ways. Most astrologers talking about a square are only going to tell you that it's like, eesh, this is a rough transit, right? There's like anger can come up, control issues, as we touched on yesterday, can come up with this square between Mars and Pluto. I will say, if we channel this energy wisely, if we are aware of our triggers, we can take some transformative action out of this square. That's the silver lining I'm finding here. Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, wants us to deeply transform. And Mars is giving us the motivation to do it, to just transform, to make it happen. Now, this restless energy, this aggravating energy in this 90-degree square can make it a little intense when we try to do that. And so we can be more controlling or manipulative, trying to make other people transform on our timeline. As we know, that doesn't normally go very well, right? So yes, there is a transformative element here, and it could be really beautiful. You know, you could finally get the courage under this Leo moon with Mars and Aries to take that step, to take that next step in your own evolution of your own transformation. But power struggles are definitely possible in that process, because Mars and Aries, very selfish energy, honestly, like this is what I want, this is what I'm going after. Pluto in Capricorn is kind of this serious transformative energy. It brings an element of like, no, the structure is not working, we need to like completely topple the whole thing, the system's not working, we need to transform it. And that can bring anger, right? Like the system, Pluto in Capricorn, that's being transformed is not meeting my needs, Mars and Aries, and that brings tension. Our motivations for all of our actions today are running very deep with Mars squaring off to Pluto as well. So it's like all the actions we're taking feel like they have a lot of weight today, especially if we're like making big moves. It feels like there's a lot of depth to those moves. So very easy to piss other people off today or get pissed off. We really want to be in control under this square between Mars and Pluto. And even if we're like, okay, we're good, we're channeling this energy, we're transforming, we're in control of ourselves, right? Like that's the best way to use this, just controlling our own emotions, controlling ourselves, controlling our own actions, not worrying about what other people are doing. However, we could also be on the receiving end of someone else's power trip. So always important to remember that we are all experiencing the transits. Just because you have a level of awareness about what's going on doesn't mean the people around you necessarily do. Now, something else I want to point out that we touched on earlier in the week, Mars is conjunct Eris. I think we talked about this on Monday. And another astrologer, Catherine Urban, brought this into my awareness. I'm not super in tune with what's going on with Eris, but Eris is a dwarf planet. It's even farther out, I believe, in the solar system than Pluto is. And it was only discovered back in 2005. And Eris in Greek mythology and in astrology is the goddess of discord. So with Mars conjunct Eris squaring off to Pluto, there's really this urge to shake things up, to rebel, even to incite a little bit of violence. I wouldn't be surprised if some violent actions occur today, unfortunately. If we feel like we've been left out, Eris wants a seat at the table. So if we feel like we've been left out of anything in any way, like even just as simple in your own life as your friends making plans and you feel like you've been left out of those plans, there's a tendency to blow up or revolt or cause discord. So just know that that's also playing out. Mars is really supercharged, and in mythology, Mars, also, ruled by Aries, known as Aries in some cultures, is Eris's brother. So they're brother-sister energy. So it's like this feminine Mars energy coupled with Mars. They're working together. The feminine and masculine action energy is there, wanting to confront things, revolt against things. And Pluto just brings an element of transformation, control, power, obsession even. Like you could find yourself being obsessed about changing things, being obsessed about taking action. It's an intense energy today, you guys. It is intense. Had an instance where I felt out of control, Rachel says, so I took your advice, focused on what I can control and let go of what I can't. Music to my ears, Rachel. That has saved my life. Probably focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. That's great advice for the energy of today too, with just this real urge and tendency to be in control under this square between Mars and Pluto. And like I said, we started to feel this yesterday, especially with the Sun conjunct Lilith yesterday. It kind of tapped us into that power center. Now's the day where we're like, okay, we found our power. Now we want to use it. Now we want to do something with it. And just be intentional about where you're directing your energy, how you're directing your energy today. We have a lot of willpower. We have a lot of fire that we're working with today. The moon is in Leo, fire sign. Mars is in Aries, a fire sign. Eris just feels like a fiery energy. I don't know if she's associated with any element, but use that fire in a productive way, okay? Is there a way to find out where Eris was in a natal chart? Can we track where it would have been at the time of birth? Yes, there should be. I'm almost positive there are calculators on the internet. You might have to do a little research because certain birth chart calculators give you the option to include dwarf planets and asteroids, others don't. So you might have to Google a little bit and figure out, if there's specifically an Eris calculator. I know mathematically, I'm sure they can figure out where Eris was even before she was discovered in 2005. So that's a great question. I actually have not. It's not a dumb question at all. I'm glad you're following your curiosity. And now you're piquing my interest too. I need to figure out where my natal Eris was. That's always fun. It's kind of like when you discover where your Lilith is. You're like, oh, okay, this is where my bitchy side comes out. Eris is where that discord, urge to rebel. Kind of similar to Uranus energy, it feels like, but a little bit more hostile and violent. So today, the rule of thumb, and Rachel said it best, is just focus on what you can control. If other people are trying to control you, acknowledge that, okay, you are feeling this energy. I don't have to take it on. I'm not going to play into it. Try to keep your own control, right? Try to keep your own sense of power about you, even if other people are losing their shit around you. The moon in Leo, let's talk about that. What's going on with the moon today? It's bringing that boldness, that courageousness, that heart-centered action, right? The moon in a fire sign makes us want to take action, further fueling this need to do something today. And our emotions feel more dramatic under the Leo moon, like they're on stage. So anything that really has been pinging at our heart or weighing on our heart, especially after that emotional new moon in Cancer, is being turned into action now. It's being expressed more boldly now. And that can go a couple different ways, right? So beware, the Leo moon is associated with our pride, our ego. Beware of letting that get the best of you. That can really play into these power struggles, control dynamics, like I'm right, I need to defend my own ego. Or sometimes we don't even realize we're acting from our ego. So just beware of that today. If you start to notice, why am I feeling so strongly about this? Get a little curious, get a little intimate with yourself. And when in doubt, under a Leo moon, lighten up a little bit, lean into fun, lean into playfulness. Like I think it was Jennifer who's going out on the lake today. Beautiful energy to work with under the Leo moon. Let yourself have fun. Let your inner child out to play. Just don't let your inner toddler out to tantrum, because that's can be a side effect of the Leo moon. However, I will say the connections the Leo moon is making today are our saving grace. Thank goodness for these positive connections. So this morning, 8 a.m., we're still kind of feeling this energy. The moon and Jupiter came into this nice harmonious trine, and we love that. So you can see when the moon was at 7 degrees, harmonizing with Jupiter here. This is one of the most abundant transits we can talk about. The Leo moon making us courageous, want to put ourselves out there, be a little bit more bold, and then Jupiter in Aries, which definitely has a bold energy as well, and wants us to feel good and feel good now, feel good in the immediate. So you probably woke up feeling like a little bit of optimism or a boost of energy. Good luck is possible out of this transit as well. We're in this phase of the moon under the waxing crescent moon now, where we're planning and preparing, looking to the future. And as we look ahead with the moon harmonizing with Jupiter this morning, it's like we're excited about what's coming up. We are optimistic about what we see laid out in front of us. And there's a lot of possibilities. You might also feel under this trine between the moon and Jupiter today, like an excitement for adventure. Jupiter likes spontaneity, it likes expansion. So maybe, you're getting ready to go hang out with some friends over the weekend, or there's part of you that's like, I want to do something adventurous and fun, and you're just kind of feeling good vibes on a Friday morning, which we love. We love when it's positivity, right? And then this afternoon, 2 p.m., the moon forms a sextile to Venus. So another positive connection to another very positive planet. Venus, the planet of love, the moon in Leo, we're feeling more passionate. Venus is here to help us lean into love, lean into relationships, lean into connection with other people, especially with Venus and Gemini. Like this afternoon, this Friday night, we're really going to enjoy being around our friends, being around the people who get us, who can have great intellectual conversations with. The energy feels a lot lighter by the end of the day today. Yes, in these relational dynamics, Mars squaring Pluto, things can definitely come up when we're in these social settings. So just because the moon is making positive connections doesn't mean we're completely in the clear from what's going on with Mars, Eris, and Pluto. But Venus and Jupiter are both here today to help us have faith, lean into love, remember to keep the peace. Venus is like, okay, let's just keep things harmonious. Let's return to our own personal values here. And also Venus tonight can help us see other people's needs as well as our own needs. We talked a little bit about this kind of selfish energy under the Leo moon with Mars and Aries. We're really focused on what we want to see change, what we want to be in control of. But when the moon forms a sextile to Venus this afternoon, it's like, oh, okay, we can easily see what other people are needing, what other people are valuing. And also, I will say the Leo moon forming a sextile to Venus and in Gemini feels very flirty for a Friday night. So you might feel yourself late this afternoon being especially flirty, or just wanting to be around other people and have those Venus and Gemini is those nice quips, those flirty little zingers that you pass back and forth either with partners or friends or crushes. You know what I'm talking about. Those light little conversations that feel really fun and silly and playful. I see that happening this evening. Now, I will say, I don't want to say watch your words, but saying the wrong thing could lead to somebody feeling vulnerable, out of control. That's where the power struggle could come in. So just be very intentional about how you're directing your energy. Yes, have fun, be playful, but don't completely lose your wits in the process. Sometimes we get caught up in we're just playing, we're just having fun, and we don't realize how our actions are landing. So thank goodness for these positive connections with the Leo moon. I really think they're going to help people lean into the love today, lean into connection and other people's needs rather than being so bogged down by the Mars-Pluto square. Yes, Lilith was Adam's first wife. We talked a lot about this yesterday, Roy, if you're interested in more of that conversation. Been waiting for this Leo energy. It's going to pick back up for sure, Fern. Feeling alive again today. Is my passion for astrology getting me too in tune with it? Sometimes that happens, right? The more you start to follow along, the more in tune you get with the transits. But I think also this trine between the moon and Jupiter this morning, anybody who's been feeling like, okay, I'm so tired, probably starting to feel the energy pick up just from that Leo moon, from all these positive connections. Even the Mars-Pluto square, as much as it's like coming with this giant warning label, it's also activating us, making us want to do something and giving us energy. So the energy does definitely feel like it's picking up on this Friday. Now let's move on to what's going on Saturday. So we have two major planetary connections to talk about, and I want to show you what this looks like on the chart because it's all happening, I mean, kind of at the same time. It's all happening at the same degree, and we'll be feeling this throughout the day on Saturday. So Mercury in Gemini is making two different connections with Saturn and Neptune, and both Saturn and Neptune are retrograde, remember. So here's what that looks like on the chart. We have Mercury, we'll go forward a day. Mercury, when it hits 24 degrees, or 25 degrees, I should say, in Gemini, is forming a trine to Saturn. So you can see that dark blue line, and a square to Neptune, that dark red line. Okay, so this is all playing out throughout the day on Saturday. Mercury making these double connections. Mercury, of course, is the planet of communication. Mercury in Gemini has been bringing through a lot of ideas, a lot of conversations are being had. The pace has felt very busy with Mercury in Gemini. Your thoughts might have even felt like really scattered over the past few weeks. Mercury harmonizes with Saturn at about 4 in the morning on Saturday morning. So this can help us slow down the pace a little bit, which is nice. It brings a serious element to our thoughts, like we're thinking really practically when Mercury harmonizes with Saturn. All these thoughts that have been coming in at warp speed, it's kind of like pumping the brakes and like, okay, let's filter this and see what's realistic for us to really focus on and what is just fluff that needs to go away. We're more concerned in what's realistic. We're more concerned with our duties, our responsibilities. What is the practical reason for the conversations and thoughts we're having? We want clear-cut answers when Mercury harmonizes with Saturn. And because it's an easy flowing connection, we can get those clear-cut answers very easily. With Saturn retrograde, there's an element of looking back to the past. So kind of reviewing the lessons we've already learned and maybe being like, okay, how did that work out in the past? How is that playing out in the future? This feels like a very analytical energy in a very, like I said, practical, like clear-cut, serious way. Like, what are we doing here? What's the goal? We got to get straight to it, and it's coming really easily in this trine. Also, as we're reviewing the past, analyzing the lessons we've already learned, we can also kind of look to the future and be like, okay, what are we building right now? It's very much about physical reality. Like, what are we creating right now? What is the plan moving forward? Mercury Trine Saturn is like, let's just get serious. Let's get real for a second on Saturday morning. Now, here's where it gets interesting, though. By Saturday afternoon, Mercury is forming that square to Neptune, which is anything but clear-cut, right? When Mercury forms a square to Neptune, it can cause confusion. It can even cause doubt or just fogginess in general. So I would say like Saturday morning, you might be having these like really serious thoughts. And then by Saturday afternoon, you might be kind of doubting yourself, like, well, wait, is this what I want to be focusing on? And with Neptune retrograde, it does kind of play into this practical energy of like, what illusions have we been buying into? Where is it time to like cut the crap, So it can feel a little confusing, like we're sorting through things, like what have we been buying into? Maybe even where have we been wasting our time? With Mercury Trine Saturn, there's like an element of time that we're really thinking about. And then squaring off to Neptune, it's like, what illusions have we been buying into? And it could be like a slap of the face a little bit, like, oh my God, we've been believing that, we've been buying into it. Or it could be like deception revealed at this point in a very real way. Like the pieces are falling into place with Mercury trine Saturn, like, oh, okay, the answers are coming in, the data is coming in. And the square to Neptune is like, whoa, we didn't see that coming, or like we didn't realize that that's really what was going on this whole time. The inner workings of like all the ideals that we've been subscribing to, all the beliefs we've been subscribing to could be revealed. Along the same lines, our inner workings of our own mind could be exposed. So, you know, as we're gaining new information and having these practical insights come through really easily, it's also like, oh, wow, I've been thinking this way the whole time. And now that Neptune is retrograde, I see like that was a little bit delusional, or I've been buying into an illusion. So I will say, if it was just Mercury and Saturn, this would be a great time to like get some deals done or put things into a solid plan. But because Mercury is square Neptune, this is not the time for negotiations, because we're questioning our own decision making. We're questioning what we really believe at this point. There is an element of being like overly practical, even like being cynical kind of. And I wouldn't make any important decisions this Saturday. It's nice that it's a Saturday. This isn't a business day for most people. So, you know, it could just feel like a big day of review this Saturday of just like, what have we been buying into? What's real? What is real? That's the question that this whole mashup with Mercury is asking. What's real? What's true? What have I been buying into? How can I get more clear-cut answers moving forward and have a clearer plan moving forward? And there's also an element of like protection. Like Saturn is like, how can we make sure we don't get deceived again in the future? You know, so it's very review, asking a lot of questions this Saturday. And we're still feeling that tension between Mars and Pluto as well on Saturdays. So there's an element of, you know, we're focusing on what we can control, which is beautiful. But where have we been out of control? Where have we been letting other people control us? There's just kind of this like protective energy of just getting real. That's the best way I can think to put it. Feeling so much better today, so much more energy, more hopeful and light. Early morning yoga. Oh, that early morning yoga while the moon was harmonizing with Jupiter, all the optimism. We love that. Yeah, Jupiter pumps me up like restless. Dreamed with studying Jupiter last night. Okay, so you're really feeling Jupiter. Jupiter is calling you, Fern. Jupiter wants you to play into that energy. And Jupiter can bring a restless energy, especially in this trine. It's like, let's go. Moon and Leo, let's go do something fun. Jupiter just wants to like go big, you know. That's kind of the energy of Friday. So that's what's going on with the moon on Friday. Now let's talk about what's going on with the moon on Saturday. So we are in this review, we're questioning, we're like really, it's like a sobering of our mind with all this Mercury activation. But the Leo moon keeps things passionate, right? Anytime there's a Leo moon, we're all a little bit more dramatic. And overnight, Friday night into Saturday morning, the moon harmonizes with Chiron. Most of us will be asleep, but if you end up staying up super late Friday night for whatever reason, you might even find yourself having like a healing conversation or a healing moment, especially as you're getting real with yourself as Mercury and Saturn are connecting. It's like you might be reviewing past pain and it's like, oh, okay, here's the healing lesson here. So that could come up if you're up like really late Friday night or up super, super early Saturday morning. Your dreams could even provide clues along the healing journey, especially with the moon in Leo. You could have some like dramatic dreams that are like, oh, this is what I still need to heal, or this is something that you might even be looking back like I've healed so much already. So there is an element of healing coming into play very easily Friday night into Saturday morning. Then at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, the moon squares off to Uranus. So a lot of us will likely be waking up feeling restless, feeling like we're ready for excitement on our Saturday. We want to thrill. When the moon squares off to Uranus, we're like, we want to disrupt. We want upheaval. And if we don't have anything exciting planned, there is a tendency to create our own excitement. And that could come through just disrupting the people around us. I actually just saw a mom on Instagram talking about on days when she doesn't necessarily feel like momming, like she's just kind of not feeling it. She's like, my kids always know, and they always kind of crave like more attention on those days, and they're all over me on those days because they can sense that I'm not as available. That's like the moon squaring off to Uranus. We're like, we want excitement, and if you're not going to give it to us, we're going to keep poking you until we create a disruption. So we can kind of feel rebellious on Saturday morning. We want to do things differently. We want something fun on our agenda for Saturday that maybe we've never done before. And if we don't have anything planned, like I said, we can get ourselves into a little bit of trouble. At 8 a.m. on Saturday, the moon's very busy on Saturday. The moon squares off to the north and south node. So as we're questioning what's real, right, with Mercury's activation to, or trine to Saturn and square to Neptune, really questioning reality, questioning what's real, the moon is also squaring off to the north and south node, bringing kind of this pivotal emotional moment. We're having a turning point in our experience where the emotions that we're like feeling, the passions that we're feeling under the Leo moon are showing us what do we need to leave behind and what direction are we heading in. And this can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but listening to our heart under the Leo moon, like really listening in on what do we care about, what gets us going, that can show us what's really important to us and the direction we're supposed to be heading. So if it feels like there's big emotions coming through on Saturday morning in one way, shape, or form, really ask, what is this showing me about what's important to me? The energy changes a little bit on Saturday night. 6 p.m. Saturday night, the moon opposes Saturn. Again, Saturn is retrograde. We're really feeling Saturn's energy with Mercury harmonizing with Saturn on Saturday. But when the moon opposes Saturn at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday night could, you might earlier in the day, you're like, well, let's do all the things. Let's have fun. You're like, we need to do it now. Like, let's go out. Saturday night could be like, whoa, I just need alone time and I need to isolate. And you could kind of feel like this drop in energy when the moon opposes Saturn. It could be like the inability to find your confidence as easily, to connect with others as easily. It could just be like being drained, or being depleted. So there's an element of negativity there. Saturn, when there's a moon opposition to Saturn, we're just like, leave us alone. There's kind of just like this negative, cynical vibe. And there's part of us that's questioning logic and rules when the moon opposes Saturn, really playing into this question of what is real? What's real to me? As you've gone out and had your fun Saturday, you could reach a point on Saturday night where you're just like, is this really what I want? Is this real? Just kind of questioning even more. So if you're feeling your energy drop on Saturday night, my suggestion would be take some alone time, take some space, even if it's just for a couple of hours or even a half hour, just giving yourself the space to process things. Because when we force ourselves to be around other people, when we're not in the energy to be around other people, that's when conflict can kind of arise, or irritation can kind of arise, or it can be easy to resent people. When the moon opposes Saturn, we're just like, why are you doing the things you're doing? Like, just leave me alone, So that could definitely come up on Saturday night. And then the final connection the moon makes on Saturday is a sextile to Mercury, and also a connection, an awkward connection to Neptune. So 8 p.m. Saturday night, the moon will make a sextile to Mercury here. The moon, and Mercury kind of like fanning the flames with Mercury and Gemini, the moon in a fire sign. It's like, okay, we're ready to talk again. We're ready to communicate again. So I see that opposition to Saturn as like this momentary, like, whoa, I just need some space. I need a chance to process and make sense of things on my own. And then we're willing to kind of jump back into conversation, or even process things emotionally by having good conversations with other people when the moon and Mercury connect in this way. Now, I talked about the awkward connection to Neptune as well. It's a quincunx. We haven't been talking about them very much lately, but it's not quite an opposition, not quite a trine. It's right in between. And our confusion, if there's any confusion that pops up in these conversations or any cloudiness, could show us, okay, where do I need to investigate a little bit more? Where do I need to put more of my attention so I can make sense of this? So Neptune is there just to kind of continue that questioning and like again, what is real? What's real? And those themes could come up in the conversations you're having on Saturday night, where you're kind of sobering yourself, coming back to reality, and then like processing all the feelings you're having with the people around you. Or it could even just be like a conversation you're having over text. When the moon forms a sextile to Mercury, if you do decide to take this isolation on Saturday night or kind of some alone time, journaling is a great way to process your emotions. Any form of using your words on Saturday night are a great way to process emotions. So that's what's going on Saturday. Now let's talk about our Sunday. The moon stays in Leo early Sunday morning, and it does make one connection before it moves into Virgo. That happens at 2 a.m. So Saturday night, if you do happen to stay up, I could see a lot of people getting a surge of energy late Saturday night, like overnight Saturday night, because the moon forms a trine to Mars. So actions come through really easily. We're able to grab energy and just go with it. So, you know, we talked about taking that alone time and that isolation, or just feeling a little bit lonely or depressed even when the moon opposes Saturn. After that moment, we kind of start to come out of our shell a little bit more. And if you do happen to be out and about, the moon and Mars are here to bring you a second wind Saturday night. If you happen to be out on the town or partying or whatever, I would expect Saturday to be a late night. Ample motivation to keep the party going. We can really stand up for things we believe in. This does bring through aggression really easily. And remember, we still are dealing with that square between Mars and Pluto. So, you know, just keep that in mind, right? That we're all a little bit more passionate and fiery right now. Even if you're asleep when the moon is harmonizing with Mars at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, your dreams could be action-packed. You could feel a little bit restless or unable to sleep all the way through the night, Saturday night into Sunday. The moon trine Mars just gives us tons of energy to use and to use passionately. Passion, if you know what I mean, is a great way to channel this energy. Super late night, Saturday night into Sunday morning, the moon trine Mars is like ready to get busy and feel good. So that could be a little something. The moon is void until about 5 a.m. Most of us will probably be asleep by that point. If you're still keeping the party going, after that last burst of energy from the moon and Mars, you'll probably crash pretty hard. And then the moon moves into Virgo at 5:30 Sunday morning. So when the moon moves into Virgo, this is really the energy we'll feel throughout the day on Sunday. We kind of get a break from all of this tumultuous energy. And the moon moving into the sign of the Virgin makes us crave productivity. So Sunday will likely feel like this day where we're preparing for the week ahead. We're getting our to-do list in order. We're in full-blown planning mode, paying special attention to all the little details that we need to achieve next week. Now, Virgo is also the sign of service. So we do feel like, you know, helping other people, but sometimes our ability to serve other people or our desire to serve other people also comes with being overly critical, because we want other people to do things the way we would do them. We have very high expectations. So, you know, just watch your criticism on Sunday. But overall, it's like, okay, we're in planning mode. We're getting things done on Sunday, especially as the moon's coming into the first quarter phase next week. The energy is starting to build, and it's like we're feeling busy. This is also a very analytical energy, so you might even be like doing a lot of mental processing of your emotions under the Virgo moon and Sunday. And the only connection the moon makes on Sunday when it's in Virgo is a sextile to Lilith, which we've talked about so much lately. Lilith has just been dominating the conversation. And when the moon gets support from Lilith, this happens at 10 p.m. Sunday night. It's really helping us lean into that sovereignty, that power. And the Virgo moon reminds us of our own control over our sacred vessel, over our bodies, especially at this moment when she is connecting with Lilith. So, you know, because Virgo is the sign of the Virgin, and we are really aware of the sacredness of our bodies under the Virgo moon. Now, I will say, with Lilith in the mix, Sunday night, when we're in that busy mode, go mode, criticism could turn to bitchiness really quick. Lilith has just been keeping the bitchiness baseline all week. So just watch how you're, relating to others, how you're expressing your emotions. Could come across a little bit harsh under the Virgo moon, specifically on Sunday night. But I would expect Sunday to be a day where we're like, okay, we're getting things in order for the week ahead. We're planning, we're productive. We want to be efficient. We want other people to be on the same page as us, and doing a lot of, it's almost like the Virgo moon is like on to the next. Any drama that happened on Friday and Saturday, it's like, we're on to the next thing. We're looking towards the week ahead now. We're making a list. If we have to do some damage control, let's just add that to the list for the next week. That's kind of how I see the Virgo moon on Sunday. So those are the transits for the week ahead. And I want to end with our affirmation for today because it really feels like it's going to carry us through the week or the weekend. I use my power for good. There's a lot of power this weekend. We have a lot of power to work with. Mars squaring Pluto is like, whoa, okay. And power can be transformative. It can be used productively. It can be really beautiful, or it can be really destructive. So use your energy with intention. Use your power with intention. I think I said this yesterday as well, or earlier this week, but with great power comes great responsibility. So just know that all this energy, maybe even this restlessness you're feeling, can be used for good. You are still in control of your body, your energy, your intentions. You don't have to be controlled by the energy. So channel your power into productive outlets, channel your power into positive transformation, and see what transpires. Be gentle with yourself too. But yeah, also the Leo moon gives us lots of passion, lots of energy. So use that to have fun, to raise your consciousness. Sometimes having fun is the easiest, fastest way to raise our consciousness and gain greater awareness. So use your power for good, even if that good is just having a little bit of good old-fashioned fun. The affirmation made me think of Glinda the Good Witch. I love that. I feel like I resonate with Glinda. Even the vibe of the live stream feels very Glinda. Maybe she needs to be our mascot. Yes, frequency, right? Our power holds frequency, and how we put that energy out literally changes the world, affects the people around us. So use your power, this energy source within you that can be destructive, can be crazy, but can also be so loving and have such a powerful positive influence. Channel it productively, channel it wisely, channel it responsibly. I feel like I'm an alcohol ad. Good, I'm glad that resonated. Okay, let's do our 3-card tarot pull, pulling from the Modern Witch Tarot deck today, and see what messages need to come through for the weekend ahead. Any information that maybe I didn't pick up on that Spirit wants to bring through. So as I'm shuffling, this is your time to ask any final questions. Let me know if you have any final thoughts about the energy heading our way. If anything came up for you while I was talking that was kind of like oh, that makes sense, or maybe this is what it means. This is a co-creation. Let me know your thoughts. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the guidebook here because you guys know I'm not an expert on tarot. I just read what the guidebook says and trust that that's the message that's supposed to come through. Rachel says, I have a quick question. I noticed the other day that the ACMC for that moment was crossing over my ACMC. I love how that changes every 2 hours, but does it have any effect on us when it crosses over? That's a good question. I don't necessarily have like a definitive answer on that. That just basically means that if it's all lined up, it's the same exact orientation that your chart is. So the energy of the current moment probably feels similar to your energy, I would guess. And the houses are all aligned with your houses if the chart is in the same orientation as your chart. So that's probably just like a moment of like, oh, okay, the energy feels like my energy right now. But I don't know if that necessarily like has great meaning unless there's a planet right on the midheaven at that point. Maybe that would be a moment where it's like, oh, okay, there's a planet on my midheaven right now. Like this is a very visible moment for me. Or, the IC, I've been looking more into the IC, which is, I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I'm going to butcher it, but it's basically the lowest point in the chart and the most internal point, or the most internal energy in our chart is probably the best way I can describe it. So I don't know if it necessarily means anything, but I love that you are having these thoughts and noticing these things, and play with that. That's the best way but the best advice I can give really is the more you're observing the energy and tuning into the energy, like take note of, okay, how did I feel in that moment? The next time you notice it, how do I feel in this moment? And be your own scientist, be your own astrologer, because ultimately you know your energy the best, and you're experiencing the energy through your body, through your own lens. So the more you are tapping in, you're a channel too. You have the ability to figure out how the energy is affecting you, especially those of you like Rachel who are tuning in almost every day and really attuned to the energy. Okay, one card already flew out. What else do we need to know? Okay, there's our Saturday card and Sunday. Ooh, we got some good cards today. Okay, the first card I pulled for Friday is the Lovers, and I actually didn't even pull it. It wanted to come out of the deck for this Friday, a message that really wanted to be heard. So let's see what the guidebook says about the Lovers. Here we go for Friday. Through love, we can reach new heights. The Lovers card is full of beauty, stars, wishes, hopes, and dreams. Two hearts, minds, and bodies become one. The Lovers create a wholly unique and special place, a paradise of mutual respect and adoration. All protective walls are torn down, leaving us naked and perfectly ourselves. Together, we see beautiful dreams through our unclouded eyes. We do things we never thought we could. We make each other stronger through trust. The world sings and nothing is impossible. You're feeling lucky in love, drunk in love, maybe a little crazy in love. There's a chance that these new feelings come with a choice to make. So embrace your desires and trust your heart. The Lovers represent all kinds of love, especially that person in your life who makes you feel like you could climb mountains. You know who they are. Treasure your time with them, walk on air, and wish on shooting stars. Let your days and nights be filled with love. Ooh, this feels like the Leo moon. And I love that it talks about you're feeling lucky in love, the moon harmonizing with Jupiter, connecting with Venus. Very much feels like what's going on with the Leo moon today. Now, I also love that this is such a positive card because it says all protective walls are torn down, leaving us naked and perfectly ourselves. This feels like the square between Mars and Pluto. Death and rebirth. These actions that we're taking, loving actions, can be so transformative when Mars squares Pluto. But if we're feeling any lack in love, if we're feeling out of control in love, crazy in love, as it says, there is a tendency to like, no, we need you to do things my way. And that can get a little bit hairy. But I love that this super, super positive, beautiful card came through for Friday, reminding us that with great power comes great responsibility, that we can channel our power productively. And if we lean into love, if we stay in the energy of love, beautiful, intense, powerful, passionate transformation is possible today under this square between Mars and Pluto. And especially with Eris right there too, it's like we have so much passion. We want to make it known. We want our seat at the table, even if that's a table for two with our lovers. So, just it feels like there's a lot of passion that we are working with today. Okay, our Saturday card is the Four of Swords. Okay, and we talked a lot about the moon opposing Saturn, the Leo moon making some uncomfortable connections Saturday, and this what is real was our kind of theme for Saturday. Here's what the Four of Swords says. The struggle is real, and you're goddamn exhausted. You've been putting time and energy fully into all of the outer aspects of your life, like friends, your relationship, your job, and you've forgotten to take care of yourself. You're worn out, so take a break, relax, close your eyes, meditate, take a nap. That part was in bold. Do what you need to do in order to recharge. Okay, so we might be going balls to the wall on Friday with the Lovers card. We're feeling the love. We're feeling our power. We're like, yeah, we got to do it all today with Mars squaring Pluto. We need to be passionate. We need to express our passion. Saturday could be calling for rest. And if we don't rest, we could get a little crabby. We could get a little cranky. Sometimes also when we give our body rest, we can make sense of what is real. That question that we asked on Saturday, kind of getting more practical and grounded of like, where have we been kind of confused, especially if we've been so external doing all the things. It's easy for things to fall through the cracks or for us to just kind of like not process or analyze things. So slowing down, listening to your body. If you feel exhausted, it's still Cancer season, even though the moon's not in Cancer. Still reminding us to listen to our bodies. So if you're feeling tired on Saturday, honor that, because that's what's coming through. And then our Sunday card is the Star, one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love when we pull this card. And here is what the Star says. Darkness has turned into light. The star is peaceful and content in her nudity. She has been born anew and became stronger from her trials. She is free and unburdened, not trying to balance or control anything, but is happily pouring her cups full of life, energy, and love out into the world. The ibis, symbol of creativity and inspiration, flies in the sky above her, and the stars shine brightly for her. Despair has turned to hope. Your wounds are healing, your scars are fading, so bask in this time of peace and serenity. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Let yourself be free and accept these calm moments. The earth and everyone around you will rejuvenate you, comfort you, and fill you with joy. You are a shining beacon of possibilities, so dream big and wish on that shooting star. Wow, it really feels like whatever is being transformed this weekend, specifically this Friday, we're going to feel more new and reborn. And when the moon moves into Virgo, this sign associated with purity and service, she's pouring out her cups freely. She's serving the world because she has pure intentions. She is free and unburdened. So finding that purity within yourself, finding that energy of rebirth under the Virgo moon is going to make you more hopeful, help you look to the week ahead as you're planning your week ahead under the Virgo moon with possibility, with a wish in your heart. It's very interesting pull, like two really positive cards sandwiching this tiredness card. So I would expect just from the card pull, like a burst of energy on Friday, maybe a little bit lower energy on Saturday, and renewed hope and excitement on Sunday, especially for those of us, here in the US. On Monday, many of us have the day off. We have an extended holiday weekend and we're having celebrations on Monday. So the star on Sunday does feel like this renewal of like, okay, we're ready to start again. And we'll be back on Monday. I will not be taking the day off because we've got some major planetary movements happening on Monday. Mars moves into Taurus. Mercury moves into Cancer on Monday. So we'll be talking all about that. Also, the 4th of July is a really powerful day when we talk about astrology, and the founding fathers used astrology. So we'll talk about that on Monday, how we celebrate our independence because of astrology on July 4th. Like they chose that day because of what was going on in the skies. So I'll break that down for you on Monday. And we also will have a new episode of The Spiritual Journalist next Tuesday, talking all about the Akashic Records. What are they? How do you tap into them? We have Veronica Lee joining us, who's been working with the Akashic Records for several decades now, grew up in a community of manifestation and spirituality, and she has a lot of wisdom to share. So I'm excited about that coming up. Rachel says, definitely going through transformation right now. All of those were on point. Learning how to fill my own cup, put up boundaries when I can't help others. I love that. I love that. It's like the Lovers is like you giving your energy to others and being in that flow. The Four of Swords is like, okay, but sometimes that depletes us when we're too giving, right? And then the Star is after we give ourselves rest, after we fill up our own cup again, we're able to continue pouring out for others. But I love how she's pouring out back into the water where she fills up her cup, right? She's refilling the source of her emotions and also putting water on the earth. So also watering the people around her, the resources around her. Perfect pull for this weekend. I love that you resonate. I think it means to take time to recharge, fill up your own cup so you can pour your light and energy out into the world renewed. I didn't even see your comment before I said all of that, Diane. We are just on the same wavelength right now. I love that. On Sunday, celebrating you. On Sunday, it will be 6 months alcohol-free. Congratulations. That is something to be proud of. And I love how we pulled the star card for Sunday. Like, celebrate yourself. You are a freaking star, a powerful source of energy. And you can celebrate the fact that you've learned how to fill up your own cup, that you've learned how to take care of your body in this sacred vessel that that is carrying your spirit every day. So proud of you. That is amazing. Oh, I'm happy that all of these cards resonated with you, ladies. All right, that's going to do it for me this Friday. I hope you found this video helpful. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Getting more and more subscribers every day, getting closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark so we can finally monetize this channel, keep these videos coming to you for free every single day. I will be back on Monday to talk all about Independence Day, the 4th of July, these major planetary movements we're experiencing this 4th of July, and we have lots of new content and conversations to share with you next week. Thank you for being here, Katie. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. Thank you for showing up for this beautiful community we're creating together today. I love you. I hope you have the most fabulous holiday weekend, and I will see you right back here on Monday morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.